Dragon Quest Monsters Joker introduced a lot of new features into the series, one of the most notable ones being the introduction of ranks. This is an alphabetical scale going from F to X that allows you to determine just how powerful any of these monsters are and whether or not they're worth dedicating resources to, and they've stuck around for pretty much the rest of the games in this series since. So today we're going to be looking at Dragon Quest Monsters Joker and the 15 X ranks in it and ranking those 15 X ranks to figure out what is the best of the best when it comes to these monsters in Joker. So, welcome everybody, this is Defeater of Souls. I exclusively cover Dragon Quest Monsters content, and if that sounds interesting, you can subscribe to my channel. So, how exactly am I going to be ranking these monsters? Well, luckily for you, I actually have a guide to show you just what I'm going to be using. I'm mostly going to be basing it off of their skills, traits, resistances, max stats, and the growth of these stats. And it's going to be those that allow me to figure out just how good any of these monsters are. Basically, I'll be treating it as if you found these monsters at level 1 and you were able to scout them in battle and you're just going from there. I am not factoring in how easy or hard it is to obtain any of these monsters. I'm also not factoring the fact that some of these monsters can't even be obtained. Those I will mention in their specific spots. Another thing that you may notice is I am not going to be featuring any additional skills because there are skill sets learned by these monsters that just boost stats. I am not putting those into the equation. I am assuming that all stat points are going to be put into their offensive skills. This may not be the case. So with a few caveats out of the way, along with the caveat that this is my opinion, so don't get mad at me if you do not like where I put something, just put a comment down below saying where you'd put it instead. So let's take a look and figure out what is the worst, best monster in Dragon Quest Monsters Joker. And the dubious honor of being number 15 on our list goes to Estark. Now, Estark has the notable traits of generally being one of the best monsters when it comes to Dragon Quest in general, so putting him here is kinda sad. When it comes to max stats, he has the lowest max stat total compared to any of these monsters on this list, which is really a shame because he's supposedly really good. He has a weakness to sleep, which is not too big of a deal, and quite a few of these guys have weaknesses. It's still worth pointing out. Fizzleproof and Whackproof aren't too special. The trait Double Trouble is, because it allows him to act twice per turn. This is of course incredibly useful, so a lot of good monsters are going to have this, and a lot of monsters on this list are going to have Double Trouble. Skills are mostly just a bunch of physical attacks with a few magic attack skills that he's not really going to be able to take advantage of, but the main reason why he is so low on this list, as in the bottom of this list, comes down to stat growth. The higher the number in the stat growth is, the quicker that stat levels up when the monster levels up. And unfortunately, Estark's stats, even his good ones, grow incredibly slowly, which means you have to level him up quite a bit in order to actually get any of the stats you want. That's why he's number 15 on this list. Number 14, Rapthorn II. And yes, I am calling him Rapthorn II. His only resistance is his ability to drain Zam. He is not even immune to instant kill attacks, and that is something that I feel like should be a basic immunity for most of these monsters. It is a basic immunity for most of these monsters, so when they don't have it, it's worth noting and pointing out. His trait Artful Dodger increases his odds to dodge, but Psycho is really good as it allows him to use tension boost and tension boosting attacks in order to deal more damage. So Psycho is something that you want on your monsters. His skills really are mostly just a bunch of status skills, although he does learn some powerful magic attacks near the end of his thing. He has good stats, in fact they're some of the best stats compared to some of the other monsters on this list. But the biggest problem is similar to Estark, and that's just that it takes way too long in order to get these stats to go up. You have to level him up quite a bit, and honestly, it might not be worth it. So that's why he's only number 14 on this list. Number 13, Zoma. Zoma has this constant problem where he just doesn't have a good variety of skills. But before we get to that, he has a weakness to Zap. And of course, this isn't a weakness to a status ailment, it's a weakness to a whole magic skill set and subtype or whatever you want to call it. So that's a bit of a bigger deal. He is Fizzleproof and Whackproof, so nothing too special there. Once again, Double Trouble is a great trait, it's just a real shame that it's not paired with anything else. And now let's focus on those skills. The skills are all ice-based, which isn't a bad thing. Focusing on one thing can be really good, especially when fighting a monster that has an ice weakness. It's just when you're fighting a monster that doesn't have an ice weakness, or resists ice, where Zoma starts to become incredibly useless. His stats are also all average except for his really high wisdom, and his stat growth is pretty much all average as well, so honestly, he's just not that special. But the fact that he just can't seem to have some variety, and any game he appears in really just is sad and helps bring him down on this list. Number 12, Ruin. Ruin looks really cool, let me just say that now, and it's a shame he's never appeared in too many other Dragon Quest Monsters games, except, the DS era. Resistances. He at least is immune to whack and confusion, and he doesn't have any weaknesses, so that seems like a pretty good place to start. His traits of Last Word and Critical Massacre. Critical Massacre, of course, increases his odds of landing critical hits, but Last Word is unique because it means he's always going to go last. This could be seen as a detriment, but it also means we don't have to worry about his abysmal agility and agility growth, because Last Word's always going to guarantee he's going last anyways. His skills are kind of all over the place. He has some decent magic skills and Wave of Panic, which is decent, I guess. And, it's kind of weird considering how his wisdom absolutely sucks. And somehow his wisdom grows about as slow as his agility, which he can't even use. So, his skills are all basically useless, but hey, at least he can do some physical attacks, and he seems pretty bulky. So, you can run a good Last Word combo with him, maybe, I guess. I don't know. But, those skills really bring him down. Number 11, Sir Leopold. This is one of the first monsters you can't officially access on account of it being Wi-Fi stuff. I have a video about that. You should watch that if you want to know what I'm talking about. Anyway, you can't access Leopold, so it doesn't really matter too much to you that he is immune to confusion. He absorbs Zam, and he's weak to Zap. Now, of course, once again, weaknesses to a whole element is kind of a big deal, but the fact that he's also immune to an entire element helps kind of balance this out. Artful Dodger is once again not too special of a trait, but Zammeister would increase all his dark magic attacks, which can be really useful if you're going for a powerful magic build. Unfortunately, he has high attack, making it seem like he's a good physical attacker, and skills that are all a bunch of ice, breath attacks, and singular attacks, none of which are powered up by Zammeister, making that trait basically useless, and making everything else also practically useless. The funniest part is you can't even technically breed to get Leopold, so you have to do some fancy rebirth stuff just to get him to actually learn dark attacks to take advantage of his Zammeister. That's just sad. Number 10, Orgonomir. Orgonomir looks cool as well, and he's immune to both paralysis and whack, although he has a weakness to confusion. Once again, not too big of a deal. Double Trouble is once again, and I will reiterate this every single time, Double Trouble is a great trait, so him having it is really good and helps push things in his favor. His skills are not as good. He shares this with the B-rank monster Dark Slime, instead of having his own unique skill set, and although they do learn good stuff, especially Magic Burst and Zammel, it really isn't as good as it could have been, and honestly it kind of feels like he got a short end of the stick here. Where's his unique skills? Every other monster on this list has unique skills, but he doesn't, so I guess that's a shame. His stats are actually pretty good too. Wisdom and defense are pretty high, so why is he not higher? Because his skills suck, and that is the main reason. Double Trouble really does carry him up this high, though, much better than some of the other guys, because he can actually properly take care of this with his decent magic skills. Number 9, Pizarro the Manslayer. Pizarro the Manslayer's only resistance is an immunity to instant death, which is not a problem, as Whackproof feels like it should be on all of these monsters, which it almost is. It wasn't on Sir Leopold, though, so keep that in mind. Those two are not immune to death. His traits of Psycho, once again, really good, and Desperado, I'm going to say once again, even though this is the first time we encountered it, Desperado basically increases critical hits a lot if he's at low HP, so it can be pretty useful. His skills are kind of all over the place, and if you actually take the time, you'll notice that he shares the exact same skill set as Ruin, which is funny because he also is really bad at taking advantage of those skills, just like Ruin. He also has really high attack, defense, HP, and his wisdom is also really bad. The only thing he really has a step up on from Ruin is his agility. He's fast, at least. He's fast. And Psycho is just really good. And honestly, Desperado may not be as good as Critical Massacre, but ultimately, because you have Psycho, he's probably doing it better. He might technically should be lower, but at the same time, I felt sorry for Ruin. On number 8, Rapthorn the First. How is he better than the second one that requires him in order to actually obtain him? Well, it's simple, and that's where it comes down to stats and stat growth. Unlike Rapthorn the Second, Rapthorn the First is going to be gaining his stats really quickly, especially his ridiculously high agility and wisdom. he still has some of the highest stat totals in the game, and this is the first form of him. In the second form, his stats get even higher, even though that one's not as good. He still drains Zam, but notice how he has whack proof, so this one can't instantly die, but the second form can. That could be seen as a weakness. Artful Dodger, he still keeps around, but instead of Psycho, he has Zammeister. This is the first place where we see a direct step down. Not because Zammeister is bad, but because he doesn't learn any Zam skills, similar to Sir Leopold. Why can't Zammeister be put on a guy who can use them? I don't know, but his skills aren't that bad either. He learned some pretty powerful magic attacks, especially near the lower end once you put some more time and effort into it, and he learned some fairly interesting support moves along with it. Ultimately, you're going to be able to use him pretty much as soon as you get him, which is a step up from his second form. Number 7, Trode. This is the second monster you cannot technically obtain because he is locked behind Wi-Fi whatnots. He is also immune to Whack, Fizzle, and Fire Breath for some reason, but his traits are where he really starts to shine with Psycho and Counter Striker. We'll come back to that in a couple of seconds. His skills are all basically built around weakening the opponent with Decelerate, Breathtaking Bash, Stupefying Strike, etc., etc. So he seems to mainly be focusing on weakening your opponents. His stats are all pretty much average, his most notable one's his HP, and really it's been overshadowed by other monsters on this list. So let's focus back on those traits. Why are they so good? Well, Psycho, once again, allows him to increase his tension to highly increase the damage of his next attack. And Counter Striker makes it so that anytime he is hit by a physical attack, he will automatically counter-attack with a physical attack of his own. That means with Trode, you could just increase his tension to 100. That way, anyone who is foolish enough to attack you, or if a monster attacks you without realizing it, they'll be receiving a full blast Trode slash all the way back, and it might kill them instantly by doing thousands of damage. That's pretty much the main reason why he's this high, because Counter Striker is a really good trait that you don't see on a lot of monsters. Number 6, Dr. Snapped. This is technically the final boss of the game, so him being really high up and really good should not come as a surprise. He has Psycho and Double Trouble, and both of those, I've been stressing this pretty much all video, are really good traits. Psycho allowing him to boost tension, Double Trouble giving him 2 actions per turn, and he has a very powerful selection of skills to pair with this too. He can heal himself with meditation, he can buff himself, debuff the enemy, and he's got some powerful skills like Kazamil and Lightning Storm as well. Now, of course, he is weak to Zap, but he has Drain Zam, so once again, those kind of balance out too. And his stats are all really good. He has high HP, he has high Wisdom. He honestly is really good, which is what made him such an annoying final boss. So imagine having him on your party and you are in a very good position. So basically, I think that most of these monsters are somehow better than him, and honestly, I probably should have put him higher because he really is just very good, very solid monster to have. Number 5, Dragonlord. Dragonlord has Whack Proof, of course, but he also has immunity to Ice Breath and Fire Breath. He pairs this with a skill set full of Fire Breath attacks and Ice Breath attacks. This pairs well with Psycho, which is a great way to increase your tension. He also has Full Heal, which is incredibly versatile, much more so than Meditation, which is the common full heal standard for some of these guys. His stats are also pretty good, high HP, high attack, high defense, high wisdom, and pretty decent MP and agility, all growing at fairly average rates. So honestly, there's no real complaints here with Dragonlord. He just seems like a pretty solid way to spit out some breath attacks and maybe finish off your opponent's monsters pretty quickly. Number 4, Mortimer. Mortimer is really good in this game. Not only does he have the Whack Proof, Fire Breath, Ice Breath proof of Dragonlord, but he also has 2 main traits that work so well together, those being Steady Recovery and Magic Regenerative. Both of those allow him to recover 10% of either his HP or his MP every time he acts, and basically every turn. So he's constantly regaining his HP and his MP, and of course his HP is not that high, but his MP is 999, meaning he's going to be being able to throw the strongest skills he has over and over again, pretty much the entire battle, and he'll be able to stick around a while with his high defense, high agility, high wisdom, high MP. This guy can do everything except land a powerful physical attack. He also has really good skills, like meditation to heal himself, just in case constant regen wasn't enough for you. Kazam and Kaboom, pretty good magic. I mean, there's better than some of these other guys, sure, but at the same time, it's pretty good magic. Honestly, Mortimer's just good. Being able to have a guy that can stick around for a long game is very nice. Number 3, the Dragovian Lord. Well, you introduce 3 letters and suddenly we have a much stronger monster than our number 5 monster. Once again, immune to Whack, Fire Breath, Ice Breath, but his traits are now, instead of just Psycho, he has Critical Massacre and Desperado. Once again, if you forgot, Critical Massacre increases critical hit chance and Desperado increases critical hit chance a bunch if you're at low HP. So at low HP, he's going to be landing critical hits like crazy. He also has Zapple, Cold Blizzard, Scorch, and Giga Slash which pairs well with the critical hits, and some pretty powerful stats to pair with it. Not as high as some of the other monsters, but high enough that he's going to be able to take advantage of a critical hit Giga Slash at low HP to finish off pretty much anyone who's still somehow standing when he's almost dead. So yeah, good for him. Number 2, Imperia. This is the last monster in which you cannot access on account of it being locked behind Wi-Fi, which is a shame because this one's also really good. It also has the Drain Zap Weak to Zam thing where it balances itself out, but it's also immune to both Sleep and Whack, which works in its favor. Artful Dodger isn't that good. It just increases the dodge rate, but Zapmeister is actually put to good use here as it has Kazap. It also has healing, it has re-heal, it has multi-heal, it has omni-heal, which is of course freaking good, making not only a good magic offensive, which its 880 wisdom says, it can also do a decent physical attack with its 9-10 attack, or it can just be focused on healing with omni-heal and multi-heal. So honestly, it's just a well-rounded bird that can fit into pretty much any niche that you need on your team. But they can't be the best because you can't access them, also because their stats aren't as good as the number 1 monster on this list. Is anyone able to guess what the number 1 monster on this list is? Well, let me tell you, the number 1 monster is the Gem Slime. Now, if you've seen most of my videos, you'll know that I have a very high opinion when it comes to metal monsters. Considering how the Gem Slime is basically considered the top of the metal monster totem pole, it shouldn't come as a surprise for me to put this guy up high on the list. But just in case you didn't know all that, let me give you a rundown on what metal monsters do. First of all, when it comes to stats, in this case all of them are pretty much maxed except for the HP exception. They also all grow at a ridiculously high rate. Once again, HP is the exception. If you take a look at their resistances, practically invincible. This of course is because of their trait Metal Body, but what this means is that they are immune to every single spell type and element, including status conditions and any other thing you can inflict on them, although they can still be healed. Back to the traits, Metal Body is really good, but before we talk about that, let's talk about Escape Artist, which guarantees you can escape from any battle. Not something I've had a problem with myself, but I can definitely see how it'd be useful. Anyway, Metal Body makes it so that they are treated quite literally like a metal slime. This is something Dragon Quest Monster Joker in particular does really well. It makes metal monsters so hard to get, but when you get them, it truly does feel like you have a metal slime on your team. That means all physical attacks are going to be doing 1 damage, maybe 2 if the opponent's lucky, and critical hits will kill you in a single hit. So you get to have the metal monster experience on your team. And honestly, if anyone here's ever played a Dragon Quest game, which if you're watching this video, I'm assuming you have, doesn't that sound awesome? And the Gem Slime is probably the best way you can get it. Now, he does have one other problem besides his minuscule HP stat and HP growth, and that's his skill set. It consists of weak magic and the Bang and Zap line of spells. Now, normally this could be considered a problem because these are both really weak. However, he has this lovely ability where if you level up enough on the skill thing and then just breed him again, it'll actually upgrade. So if you compare it to literally any other monster that substantial upgrades is only going to increase their stats, Gem Slime will also naturally increase its skills, even if you were to just breed it with something like a normal slime over and over again. But I'm not going to try and keep that in count, so as a result, the skills really are their worst part. Besides that, the Gem Slime is easiestly the best rank X monster in the game. And that is the end of the video, so thank you very much for watching. If you are interested in exclusively Dragon Quest Monsters content, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Also, here is the challenge of the every other week. This week's challenge is of the 5 monsters I've covered, there is actually one that you actually can obtain without breeding that isn't given as a gift through the post-game of Dragon Quest Monsters Joker. As a result, it's not actually 15, it's closer to 12 because the 3 Wi-Fi ones do not count. So, out of the 12 monsters remaining, which one of these can you actually tame, or scout, or befriend on a normal playthrough of Dragon Quest Monsters Joker's post-game? No breeding necessary. First person to put it down in the comments will get a shout out in the next video, and the last challenge was naming every single type of ninja slime. The person who was capable of doing that was Draconian777. So good job to Draconian. Thanks for watching and thanks for guessing, and hey, let's see who can do it this time. That's about all I have to say, so I guess once again, subscribe if you're interested in exclusively Dragon Quest Monsters content. I already said that. You can comment if you have something to say. I'm down for literally any kind of discussion down there. It gets pretty wild. Sometimes it's fun. Like the video if you liked the video, and if you didn't, leave a dislike because I like to learn. If I mess something up, please leave constructive criticism, or you could just insult me and I'll ignore that comment. Whatever works for you. So thank you very much for watching, and this has been Defeater of Souls.